All right, I guess we will go ahead and get started. So hello everyone and welcome to this week's Alertus Power Lunch. Device management, keeping your alert beacons and other hardware up to date. This session will focus on optimizing your alerting strategy. Learn how to add or remove devices, including alert beacons and Alertus desktops from the console. We will also discuss strategies for managing groups to effectively target your alert recipients, ensuring the right message reaches the right people. We'll explore the power of device assignment rules, showing you how to automate group assignments for maximum efficiency and precision. And my name is Sarah. I'm a trainer here at Alertus, and this is an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions using the Q&A feature or also the chat box. And please also be aware that this session is being recorded for training purposes. But we'll go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen so that we can take a look at my Alertus console here. So to get started, we're gonna look into some more information about alert beacons. So we're gonna start by going under this configure system section. This is available to system administrators. And we're gonna take a look at this alert devices tab. So this is where you are able to see your alert devices. You are also able to update device settings and also clean up or delete old devices from here. So I'm going to show you how to delete and then re-add an alert beacon as an example. So I'm just going to start with this yellow alert beacon that I have on the training wall behind me, as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete it, and then we will re-add it back into the system. So we can see it's been deleted. If you do ever need to re-add or add a new alert beacon into your system, you can do that by clicking this Add Alert Beacon button. It will take you to this page where you'll fill out information about that alert beacon. Also, before you fill this out, if you do go back up to the reports section and you take a look into this device status report, if you do have an alert beacon that has not been added or configured yet, you might also see it showing up here as not configured. So this is that alert beacon that I did just delete from the system. So if you see it here, you do also have the option to click this link where it says not configured. That will take you to that same Add Alert Beacon page that we were looking at. So you can also fill out the information through here. Going this way, it has already filled in that ID number for you. Just make sure you put in the correct ID. This is what will identify the alert beacon, and it is located on the back of the unit. So if I took it down from the wall, you'd see that 14C number on the back. But I'm just going to give this a name. Again, I'm going to call it Yellow Alert Beacon Training Wall. You can also add a description here as well. I would recommend putting in this description something about the location or just more information about that particular alert beacon, just to make sure that you know which one is where. And then you do also have the option from this page to manually add your alert beacon to some groups. We'll also look at some other ways to update our groups. I'm just going to go ahead here and select the groups I want this alert beacon to be in. So I want it to be in my building 1. I'm going to put it in building 2 just for training examples. And I'll also put it in my test group. So those are the groups I want it to be in. And then we can also come to this advanced settings tab. So this is where you're able to put in information about any auxiliary devices that you might have connected to this alert beacon. So for example, if you can see behind me, I do have an LED marquee attached to that yellow alert beacon. So I'm going to select it here as this RS232 device. And I'm going to pick the static line amber. These are just settings for what the text would look like, whether it's static, scrolling, or rolling, and whether the text color is amber or red during an alert. I'm going to leave it with amber. And then I do also have 2 panic buttons behind me that are connected to that yellow alert beacon. So I'm going to put this panic button configuration for number 1 and number 2, just so that I can let my system know that I do have panic buttons connected to that alert beacon. So this will let me set up that panic button configuration. And then from this advanced section, if you are using locations on your system to organize your devices by location, you do also have the option to assign the alert beacon to a location from here. Maybe I'll put it in my Alertus HQ location. And then once all of those settings look good, you can go ahead and click Add. So now that yellow alert beacon on the training wall shows back up in this device list. If we did go back to that device status report, now it is just showing up as online since we have configured it. So that is how you can add and update an alert beacon. We are also going to take a look at a few other device types, going back into this configure system section, back into that main alert devices tab. I do also want to share some more information about how you could add or delete some of your Alertus desktops from your system. So if you do have the Alertus desktop software downloaded and pushed out to those desktops that you want to be able to receive alerts in your system, they will automatically show up in this alert devices section here. And you will also, if you have the Alertus desktop software icon in the system tray, you're able to click on it here to see the status. So I can tell with that green check mark that it's operational and it is connected to this server. But if you do ever need to clean up or delete old desktops, you can do that manually from this page. We'll also look at some more efficient ways that you can update or delete devices in bulk. But just for example, I'm going to go ahead and delete my desktop from the system just to show you how it will be re-added automatically, since I do have this Alertus desktop software downloaded and set up to target my training.alertus.com server, since I do have that host name in the configuration file that I pushed out. So I will go ahead and just delete my desktop here by clicking the delete button. So now we do no longer see it in the list of devices. If we do look at this Alertus desktop software, now I do have that X since it has been deleted. But if I do click for more information, I can tell that my desktop is currently re-registering with the server. So this will only take a few moments, and then once it has re-registered, we will be able to see it showing back up in this list. So I can tell based on that green check mark, it has re-registered already. So that didn't take very long at all. And if I do refresh this alert devices page, now I am able to see that my desktop is showing back up in this list. So your devices, your desktops, if they are deleted, if they still have that software, they will be able to just be re-added as soon as they check in with your server. You can still click the edit pencil here next to those desktops if you do want some more device information. And then you can also edit your device settings here. So again, for desktops, you have the same option if you want to come through this list and select the groups that you want that desktop to be a part of. You do also have the option to use device assignment rules to update your groups automatically. So we'll look into creating those device assignment rules at the end of this session today. But I can tell that I do have a device assignment rule putting this desktop in building 2. So even though it was deleted and re-added to the system, it was automatically put in that building 2 group since I do have a device assignment rule for that group. But again, like the alert beacon, you do have the option if you do want to come in here and check any additional groups that you want that device to be a part of, you can select it here and click save to add that device back into those groups. And I do also want to show you another option for cleaning up your desktops that can be really helpful. If you do go into this desktop tab, you are able to access a number of desktop settings. One of them I did want to take a look at is this global settings section. If we come to this device cleanup job, if you do have this turned on, this will give you the option to delete inactive devices automatically. So now that this is enabled, as it's set up here, it would check every day at 3 a.m. to see if I do have any desktops that haven't checked in 30 days or longer. And if that's true, then it would go ahead and delete that desktop from your system. So again, this can be helpful to help you clean up old devices if you have any that aren't being used anymore, that you just need to get rid of. You can set this to run that cleanup automatically. And you can edit these values to be whatever you'd like. So maybe if you don't want it to check in at 3 a.m., you could change it to be whatever you like. And then you can also update this days since last verified check-in value. Maybe instead of 30 days, I want to give it 120 days. You can make it whatever you want here. And again, like we saw with my computer, even if a desktop does get deleted, like maybe someone goes on like maternity leave and their computer doesn't check in for a few months, as soon as they're back in the building, they're connecting to your network and checking in with your server, their desktop will just be re-added as long as they do still have that Alertus desktop software on their system. All right, so that was some information about desktops. The last device I did want to give some information about is the IP text-to-speech speakers. So very similarly to the desktops, once your speakers are plugged in and connected to your network, they should just show up on your system automatically. Again, you can also click the edit pencil here if you do want to update any settings for your text-to-speech speakers, like changing the profile, which houses a lot of settings, or you can also add your speakers to groups from this device page. But there is another tab in this Alertus console where you can manage a lot more text-to-speech speaker settings. So I'm going to come down to this text-to-speech tab to show you some of the information in here. So for example, if we do click into this global settings tab, there is an option here to toggle on downloading updates. So if this is turned on, then your IP speakers, like the white one that I have behind me, they will be able to, your server will be able to download software updates from the Alertus gateway at gateway.alertus.com. if your system is set up to be able to communicate with that gateway. So if you do want to turn this on, that will allow your system to retrieve those software updates, and then you can control how those updates are pushed out to your devices in the text-to-speech profile. So if you did notice when we were in that alert devices page and we were looking at my text-to-speech speaker, you have the option in these settings to specify what text-to-speech profile you want that device to be assigned to. And you set up those text-to-speech profiles in this text-to-speech tab. So for example, my device was assigned to this firmware profile that I created. If I do click in to edit that, I am able to specify a number of settings here. The one for receiving updates is this update channel setting. So this controls how those software updates are pushed out to your devices. So right now I have this set to receive production updates. So this will be able to receive the most recent stable update that's available. You can also disable the update channel if you don't want your devices to be receiving updates. And then this development option at the bottom would allow you to receive updates that are still in development. So typically we don't recommend that unless you're asked to select this by Alertus support. We would recommend if you do want to receive updates, sticking with the production updates. But that is how you are able to control receiving those updates to your text-to-speech speakers. And if your server, for whatever reason, is not able to communicate with the Alertus gateway, you are also able to manually download that software update, and then you can pull it into your system from the middleware settings. There is a device package installer middleware setting here, so this could be a way that you could manually import a software update, again, if you're not able to automatically pull it from the Alertus gateway for whatever reason. And support can definitely help you if you do have any specific questions about making sure that all of your devices are updated. But now that we've looked at a lot of information for our devices, I did want to go into some more information about setting up our groups so that you are able to target specific devices with alerts. So as we saw, when you do add a new device into your system, you do want to make sure that it is put in the appropriate group so that you can target it during an alert. So to create and manage the groups that you have on your system, you're able to go to this Groups tab in the Alertus console. So this will show you all of the groups that you have set up on your system. You can add a new group, and then you can also edit or delete existing groups here. If you do click into one of your groups, for example, I'll take a look into this Building 1 group. From this General tab, this is just where you give it a name and a description. This Devices tab is where you are able to see all of the devices that are in that group. You can also see any devices not in the group on the left-hand side. So if you do ever need to manually move just a few devices into the group, you can select them on the left and pull them in. You can also use the arrows to remove them from the group in this similar way. And then you do also have the option from this Contacts tab, if you do want to assign contacts to that group, you can create contacts under this Contacts field. So that could be another way that you can target specific desktops based on contact information. And then finally, from this Advanced section, if you do have any like Active Directory or LDAP mapping that you want to establish and use to update your groups, you're able to pull in that connection here once it has been configured. So this is where you go to create groups, and you can manually move devices into groups here. But if you do have hundreds of devices, you probably don't want to be selecting each of them individually to pull them in. So I did want to show you a couple of options that you have for updating your group assignments more efficiently. So one option would be using this device batch updater tool. This will let you customize a number of device settings in bulk. So you are able to see all of your devices again on the left-hand side. You're able to select the ones that you do want to edit. And to narrow down what you see here, you are able to use these filters. For example, you could filter by device type. You could also filter by online status, or you could filter by inactive since. So you can look for devices that haven't checked in for a specific amount of time. And then you can also search for specific devices here. But once you've narrowed it down to the devices you do want to update, you're able again to select them, and then you can update any of these settings on the right. So for example, you can update the group for those devices by clicking that group option and selecting the group that you want to add them to. You do also have the option for alert beacons, for example, that you can update the like LED marquee device or any of the auxiliary input or output devices. And then you can also update the location from this device batch updater as well. And you can also delete devices in bulk from here. If you, for example, want to search for desktops that haven't checked in a long time, this could be a way that you could delete those without having to search for them individually. And then another way that you can update your groups more effectively is creating something called a device assignment rule. So we definitely recommend setting these device assignment rules up, especially if you do have a large number of devices, just to make sure that they are able to be pulled into groups based on those rules that you have set up. So you can create these device assignment rules based on a number of device criteria. For example, you could create a rule that say any device with an IP address in a certain range should be a part of this group. That could be helpful if you know like the network setup for a specific building. You can put in the appropriate ranges, so then any device in that building checking into that network would be automatically put in that group. You could also set up groups based on like a device BSSID or check-in variable, or you could use device name. Like you can see, I have two set up for device name here. For example, I created one for my security team. The rule says that if any desktop starts with this ADST, it would be put into that security team group. And then I also did create one just as an example for my desktop to put it into that Building 2 group. So for example, when you do create a device assignment rule, you'll be able to give it a name and then select the group that you want this rule to assign the device to. And then you're able to, again, decide what device criteria you want this rule to be based on. You have these 4 options: BSSID, check-in variable, IP address, or name. This example uses the device name, and then you can put in whatever regular expression rule. I just typed in my name to make sure that I'm using this rule for my device. So any device with Gillum in the name will be a fit for this rule. But if you do want some help building out these regular expressions, there is a regular expression help link that you can select, and then this will help you use some of these additional syntaxes or characters to get some really specific rules. For example, you could have it match if it starts with this, match if it includes this, and there's some examples of some rules that you can build out with that regular expression. And then if you did select, say, IP address as the search field for that device assignment rule, you would also have the option to put in an IP range. So you could create an IP rule, again, just by specifying a start and end IP address, and you can also add multiple IP ranges for that rule if needed. But once you set up the rule, if you go ahead and click Save, it will add it onto your system. So then any devices that meet that criteria would automatically be put into that group. So I would definitely recommend doing that. Again, if you do have a large number of devices, if you can set up this structure, that can just help you make sure, again, everything is in the right group. Also, it can be really helpful to make your groups more dynamic. For example, if you're using IP address as your criteria, say you have someone working on a laptop, they might be in building 1 at the beginning of the day, but they might pick up and move to building 2. As soon as their device is checking in with the network, if the IP address changes, then it would reevaluate these device assignment rules to be able to move it into that building 2 group. So that can help you make sure that wherever your staff are working, they're able to get the correct alerts based on the buildings that they're in. And then just to show you how you are able to target specific groups for alerts, there are a number of ways that you can do that. You can do it when you're building out a preset alert under this Configure Preset Alerts tab. This is how you can set up those alerts that you have saved on your system that you can send really quickly from this preset activation page. So when you configure any of these preset alerts, like this example I have for a fire in building 1, when you click edit, you'll come through here, again, giving the alert a name, deciding what message text that you want to send. You'll also specify the delivery methods or types of devices that you want to target. And then finally, this last section here for your recipients is where you are able to choose your groups. So since this was for a fire in building 1, I just selected my building 1 group. You could also select multiple groups if needed. And when you build out these preset alerts, you also have the option to just select all if you want to send it to all of your devices, or you could select individual units if you just want to target a few specific devices. So definitely recommend using these targeting methods, again, just to make sure your message is reaching the correct people. So just to show you as an example, now that I do have that preset alert built out to target my building 1 group, if I do want to send it from that preset activation page in the Alertus console, I can select that preset alert we looked at for a fire in building 1, either from this quick access menu or by clicking the drop down to see all of the preset alerts. And I could also type to find one really quickly. But once I select it, I'll hit continue. And then I can get some information from this confirmation page here. So for example, it will show me the group that I'm targeting. I can see I'm targeting my building 1 group. And then I can also see the number of devices that I'm targeting in total. as well as how many of those devices in building 1 that are actually online. So I can tell I have my training wall devices in this group. So I have my 2 alert beacons that you can see behind me, also my desktop and this IP text-to-speech speaker are all showing up as online. So I will go ahead and send that just to show you what it will look like with all of those devices being activated. So you can see they're both going off behind me there. And then I did also get the notification on my phone with Alert Aware. You can see the LED marquee. Here's my desktop alert that popped up as well that I can acknowledge. So yeah, that's what an alert looks like. And I can go ahead and cancel it too from this active alerts window if I want to go ahead and stop that activation early. So now they'll all go back to their regular non-active state. But awesome. I know that we did look at a lot today. I did want to save a few minutes for questions. I do see that there are a few already in the Q&A box. Please feel free to continue adding questions in there. Let's see. One question says, any idea why we have a test update channel in our text-to-speech profile? I believe you're speaking about if we go back to the text-to-speech profile, why you have the option for this development channel. So that development channel, again, I'm just pulling up my notes here, but devices on that development channel get the last developmental updates. So it could be helpful if, for example, there is an issue that support has been working on for you specifically or a specific group of devices. It could be possible that support would direct you to update to a development channel to resolve an issue that you're experiencing before it's officially pushed out into the production channel. But again, we do recommend just on your own, leaving it on that production channel, just to get the alerts that are fully pushed out and stable. But yeah, again, there might just be an extenuating circumstance where you might need to update to an earlier version that hasn't been pushed out to production. So the option is there just for that. Oh, you do actually have a dev and test in the update. That might be something specific to your implementation. If you do have something else that's been added, that again might have been someone in the past was working on something with you and wanted you to test like a specific update maybe before it was pushed out or available to everyone. You might have been in kind of like a control or test group in the past. So that might have been why that was added onto your server. Hopefully that answered your question, and definitely your account manager should have more information about your system specifically if you do want to follow up with them for any like system specific questions. Awesome. And I do see, is there a way to verify that a device assignment rule moved a desktop into a group without needing to drill into each desktop individually? Like a way to quality check or report for desktops that were not automatically added to a group. Yes, there is a way to do that. So again, if you do click into the group itself under this configure system section, you are able to click in and see if any devices have been added. With a device assignment rule, they'd be grayed out. But of course, you probably don't want to have to check into all of your groups. So there is actually a report that makes checking that group information easier. So if you go under this reports tab, there is a group memberships report. So this again will display all of your groups that you have set up, and you are able to click on any of these groups to expand it and see the devices in that group. But there are also some extra links at the top that allow you to be more precise, and I think that this is what you're looking for. So for example, this top link here will let you view alert devices that are not assigned to any groups. So if you do click that link, you'd be able to see if you did have any desktops that are not a part of any group. So this would let you know if maybe a device assignment rule missed, if there is anything that's not in a group that should be. This would be a really quick way that you can check and see if anything's missing a group assignment. So hopefully that answered your question. Awesome. And for groups under the Advanced tab, would you recommend using Active Directory or LDAP mapping? That's definitely an option, depending on your organization and what you have set up. If you do go back in here to this groups, and then come into that Advanced tab, again, you can just pull in like Active Directory data. So it could be helpful if you do have an Active Directory that you're using in your organization. You'd be able to add that information so that you could use that to update groups instead of having to like manually add contacts or have another way to manage the desktops. That could be a helpful option. But again, definitely connect with your account manager if you are interested in learning more about setting up something new on your system like this Active Directory support. They'll be able to give you some more information about getting that set up specifically. And we do also have a knowledge base article that does go into group assignments with some more information. So I can try to pull that up to share it with you. Also, you can access all of this information that we do have in the knowledge base. If you go to the support section, there is a link to the customer portal. This is also just at help.alertus.com, but we do have a lot of resources here if you do ever want to search for a specific topic, like if you want to search for like LDAP for groups, you can pull that up. It looks like there was a configuration guide for the LDAP integration here, and then there is also this user quick guide with more information about targeting, including using LDAP or Active Directory to target. So I can go ahead and put this link in the chat if you do want to read some more about what your options are with LDAP or Active Directory. And again, definitely connect with your account manager if you do have any questions about getting that set up on your system. So again, hopefully that answered your question. Awesome. All right, I think that I've answered everything in the Q&A box. Again, please feel free to continue putting questions in the chat or in the Q&A. But otherwise, please feel free to hop off and enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope that you all have a great weekend, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. And hopefully we'll see you in some future power lunches. So. All right, I don't see any other questions, so I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off as well. But again, have a great rest of your day.